Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on another solo backpacking adventure. I'm currently in George Washington National Forest. We've got some rain going on right now, and we're going to be patching together 3 trails to create an overnight loop: the Meneka Peak Trail and the Tuscarora Trail. I've not yet hiked before, so I'm interested to see what those have to offer. The Massanutten Trail I thru hiked in late winter, so we're going to be doing that section over again. It does have some views, but today it might just be clouds. So let's get on the trail and start walking. We started our hike at the Signal Knob parking area where I finished my thru hike, and we're going to be following the Orange Blaze Massanutten Trail. This storm front that's coming through right now has got some cool, crisp air behind it. So if we can start a fire tonight, that'd be great. But I'm looking forward to sleeping in some high 40s temperatures. And hopefully this rain will clear out soon. Maybe we can get a view once we get to the top. As we gain elevation on the Massanutten Trail, climbing up to the Meneka Peak Trail, we pass this small creek that right now is running pretty good since we had all this rain here last night and this morning. Looks like we're coming up to our first crossing of the creek that I've been following. We just came to our first view while making the climb up. That's the eastern range of the Massanutten Trail, and it looks like the skies may be starting to clear up a little bit. I do recommend hiking the Massanutten Trail if you're planning on through hiking it. Doing it in the winter months when it's still cold out and none of the leaves have grown in, because all these views would be open hiking along these trails, and they were for me when I through hiked it back in late winter. So that's my recommendation about the Massanutten Trail. Hike it before the leaves come in. We are starting to enter a little bit of a pine forest section. These George Washington National Forest trails are full of these little pockets of pines. I think I hear a turkey up there too. Looks like the storm is moving out. The rain has stopped, and in just a minute we'll be at our first official viewpoint. This is the view of Buzzard Rock Cliffs in the distance. We hiked that trail up to the cliffs on a car camping trip a few weeks ago. I think I'm going to take a pack off break at this vista. There's a nice fire ring with a big rock to sit on. I was sitting on that big rock next to the fire pit having my snack and water. Didn't realize that there was this throne right behind me. Peasant, bring me my snack and a horn of ale. The mountains to the east of us are now shrouded in a cloud, but we are walking towards those blue skies. Oh, look at that. The sun is out. This section of the trail is extremely rocky and a little technical, but there's no climbing. You just have to really watch your steps, especially when all these rocks are wet like they are now. Just got to a small clearing on the side of the trail, and that peak directly in the center of the screen is Meneka Peak. That's the trail we're going to be taking in just a few minutes. I'm going to continue on this rocky path until we hit that intersection. There's a mama deer and there's a baby deer. Oh, there's another baby. We've made it up to the ridge line. It's flattened out nicely. I passed a couple nice campsites that are pretty small, enough for a tent or two, and fire rings, but they're all right on the trail. What I'm doing is I'm headed to a campsite that I passed on my through hike, and I really wanted to stay there, but it was on my last day and I was headed out, so decided to come back and stay there tonight. We have arrived at the intersection of the Meneka Peak Trail and the Massanutten Trail. The Massanutten continues straight ahead, and the Meneka Peak Trail leads to the Tuscarora Trail. Just came off the trail past the summit, found a little spot with a little opening, and we've got a little view of the East Range of Massanutten, and past that in the distance, Shenandoah National Park. We've just made it to the intersection with the Tuscarora Trail and Meneka Peak. We're going to be taking the Tuscarora down into the valley to that campsite with a little stream. We've been descending on the Tuscarora Trail down into this valley, and we're opening up to a few views here. We're finishing up the Tuscarora. It's the last blue blaze there. You can probably hear the water in the distance. That's my water source for the night. Up here is the intersection meeting back up with the Massanutten Trail, and we're gonna take this to the left, following it down about 3/10 to 5/10 of a mile until we hit that campsite. Just came off the Massanutten Trail, and this is the campsite that I spotted on my through that I thought was so nice. Got the creek right here as a water source. It's an open area here for hammocks or tents. Across the creek, you've got a big fire pit up there. Big fire pit, and actually the creek is running a little bit on that side too, so it's kind of a little island. Oh yeah, look at this. Lots of big logs here, and I just happened to bring my handsaw. Nice. Perfect. I got here late in the day trying to avoid the traffic, so I didn't even have lunch. Grab my lunch out of here. Got some Cheetos, a beef stick, and some peanut butter and raisins on the tortilla. Oh yeah, peanut butter raisins, my go-to. Can't forget the Cheetos. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to put the tarp over the hammock tonight because it just started raining again. So let me throw that up real quick. Uh-oh, here it comes. I'm getting the tarp up just in time. All right. Okay, now we're all situated. I guess I'm gonna sit down in the hammock and relax for a little while it's raining. Okay, well, it's not raining terribly hard. It's just kind of off and on spitting now. Came down decent for a second there. Just goes to show you, you never know with that forecast. You could always get a little bit of rain, especially in the summer months. I'm gonna finish my lunch here and then start collecting firewood before it's all soaked. I can always keep it under the tarp if I need to. One thing I really love about hammock camping, besides just camping with a tarp in the rain, I think it's way better than a tent, but having this bug net on my hammock creates a great backrest. It's like having a lazy boy combined with your bed. Super comfortable, just sit here, listen to the creek, watch the sun come out after it just rained. Listen to the raindrops hit the tarp. I had to walk a ways away from the campsite before I found some down wood. As usual, the campsites are picked clean, but I got a good pile right here. This should get me started, and then I can use those big logs that I can saw up with the handsaw that someone so generously left for me. I've got a little pyramid with a bunch of tiny stuff, what dry leaves I could find, one broken up fire starter. Now it's time to grab the saw and get to sawing up all these bigger logs so I don't have to collect a ton of firewood tonight. Trying to find a spot to hang my bear bag for the night, and I just came to this other campsite closer to the reservoir, and it looks like we're going to try and hang right above this access road on this branch right here. Just like that. All the camp chores are done, bear bag is hung, firewood is cut, water is collected, just waiting for that sun to go down before I start the fire. We're starting to lose some daylight, so I'm gonna break out my cook kit here, and we're gonna get to cooking up dinner. Not only does my pot koozie hold all this together, nesting nicely, but it's also what I rehydrate my meals in. And this is a cup of noodles. Cup of noodles pack fits perfect in here. Look at that. All right, take off my homemade top. And we're just gonna pour that right with the Ziploc. Take the Ziploc, stir it up a little bit. Get the air out of there. Zip it shut. I think while I wait for my dinner to rehydrate, which will only take a minute or two, I figure we start this fire up. Just go ahead and let that sit in there. Just gonna keep feeding it this little stuff until we got it going good. But these fire starters work really well. I never use them backpacking. This is the first time I've used them backpacking. Mostly just use them in the car when I'm car camping. While I was eating dinner, fire started to die down a little bit, so I'm going to use my favorite piece of backpacking gear to help me stoke it back up. Love this 3-fold Gossamer gear pad. Had it for 15 years. I'm going to enjoy this fire for a couple more hours before I crash in the hammock. I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. Had a great night's sleep last night. It's almost 7 o'clock now. I'm gonna get up, get the bear bag down, make some breakfast from the hammock, and relax for a little while in camp before we pack up and hike out of here. I just threw back my bug net and tossed the tarp back so I can enjoy the woods while I make my breakfast here. We are having oatmeal, blueberry, and strawberry today. I've got a couple more snacks here I'm going to walk out with. I think we're just going to have oatmeal here in camp, laying in the hammock. I'm getting all geared up and ready to go. Pack all this gear up, and then we're going to head for the Tuscarora Trail. It's 5 miles on that trail back to the car. 4.3 of that I have not yet hiked before, so I'm excited to see what that trail has. I don't believe it's any views, but I think it's a couple water crossings maybe. Sun is just peeking up over the mountains, and it looks like there's some fall colors changing already. Didn't get that cold last night. Got into probably the high 40s. I don't know what's causing all these leaves to change, but it seems like it's just right here. Well, probably about halfway up this climb, we're starting to get some views. I'm gonna take this melee off. I'm already warmed up. Oh yeah. We've reached the intersection of the Sidewinder Trail and the Tuscarora. We're going to continue on the Tuscarora, and the Sidewinder Trail leads downhill to Mudhole Gap. We've been descending the Tuscarora using several switchbacks. Now we're coming up on the creek, make a quick crossing, and another mile or so left of the hike. We just finished up with the Tuscarora Trail. We're back on the Orange Blaze Massanutten, about a quarter mile from the parking lot. I'm gonna wrap up the video here. Thanks for joining me on another backpacking adventure. I'll see you in the next one.